Watch this. Why no amateur can beat a pro. It's not talent. It's the invisible foundation that turns practice into unstoppable match play. Can an amateur ever beat a pro? Almost never. Even after 10 years away from the game, I still have the foundation. The gap isn't just technique, it's strategy. A pro has trained since childhood, so the basics are deeply rooted. Today, we're focusing on how to apply your techniques in real match situations. That childhood training is why a pro's instincts never fade, even after years away from the table. That foundation is why pros calculate every ball. When they play seriously, they read your every intention. Winning even 1 point feels impossible. If you've never played a pro, you might think you have a chance. But the truth is, the ball they send over is simply beyond your reach. It's not about quality, it's about anticipation. They know your next move before you do. Every shot is a calculated response to what you're about to do, which is why they seem to be a step ahead the entire match. Table tennis hides its quality. The ball looks ordinary, but carries heavy spin and arc you can't see on video. Even live, it's hard to read. That's why we amateurs play for fun and fitness, not to win. Pros play pros, we play our level. The sport is that demanding. Every point requires precision, and improving even a little takes real effort. The spin and arc are invisible to the eye, so you misjudge the ball's true behavior until it's too late. Watch this, feeding to this spot is too comfortable. That's the danger. Now, my partner stands on the backhand side. Should I aim for the middle? Not yet. You only attack the middle when he's positioned there. If he's on the backhand, he'll just play his backhand. The middle works when his body is centered. That's when it's truly uncomfortable. But if he's on the forehand side, aiming middle is the same problem. So the rule is simple. Read his position first, then decide. Watch his stance and adjust your target accordingly. That's the key to making the middle effective. So when do you go middle? When he's standing there. If he's on the backhand, he'll simply play his backhand. The key is awareness. Don't try to kill every serve, you'll just make errors. Stay calm, stay ready, and the simple shot becomes easy. That awareness is what separates smart players from reckless ones. You need to be patient and wait for the right moment, rather than forcing a winner on every ball. Don't rely on one technique, you need continuity. So when he's on the backhand, we can confidently aim for the middle. But where exactly is his middle? The white line. His right leg. His right arm. Let's test each spot and find which is most uncomfortable. We'll try them one by one and see which gives him the most trouble. Each target changes how he has to move, and that's what we're really testing here. First, the line, he uses his backhand. Second, the leg. Third, the arm. Which feels worst? The leg. The leg and arm are both tough. The line is easier, he can pivot to his forehand. Let's try again with backspin, since topspin was too simple. We'll see if the same spots still cause problems. The spin changes everything, so we need to test each target again under different conditions. First the line, then the leg, then the arm. The arm is the worst. He gets crowded, can't complete his swing. So the line doesn't work. Now let me demonstrate with a serve. Watch closely. Use your backhand first. Here's a right side spin serve. Notice how the placement changes everything. The spin and placement together create a completely different challenge for the receiver. Left side spin, he uses his forehand. That's the uncomfortable feeling. The two toughest balls. Right side spin aimed at his elbow, left side spin aimed at his thigh. If he favors his forehand, aim for the leg, he'll have to move, and that slows him down. That's the key to making him struggle. The movement forces him out of position, and that's where the point is won. If your opponent favors the backhand, aim right at the elbow. Most backhand players can't handle a ball there. They have to stretch, and that's when mistakes happen. Remember, this isn't an absolute rule, just my experience. Watch, I serve to the middle, he uses his forehand, then I go to his right leg. He's jammed, forced to lift a low-quality ball, and I'm barely even trying. If he likes the backhand, serve left side spin and pin him at the elbow. He can't move, can't get ready, his forehand is desperate, his backhand is dead. The lesson: any coach who teaches a technique as fixed and unchanging is a poor coach. Table tennis lives on variation. That's the real advantage. You adapt faster than your opponent, and that's what wins points. The sport rewards those who can change their approach on the fly. I pin his elbow, and he opens his stance slightly. Now he's comfortable, the ball lands right on the point. So I adjust, pin his leg instead, crowd him until his feet and stance have to widen. That's what it means to play the person, not the ball. Make him uncomfortable every single rally, and even a hot-handed opponent will start to drift and fall apart. That's the real skill. You have to read his adjustments and counter them immediately. Now changing lines. My students tell me constantly, they're afraid to change direction because they fear the error. They won't flick a short ball. They won't rip a long one, all because they're scared of missing. That fear is the real obstacle, not the technique itself. I always tell them, lower your expectations. You're still learning. Why compare yourself to anyone? Enjoy the process. If you never try it in a match, you'll never learn it. The rhythm and environment differ from practice, so you'll miss at first. But that's how it works. 5 rallies, 4 out, then 3, then 1. That's progress, and it only comes from trying. Keep pushing through the misses, and the consistency will follow. Keep going, and soon you'll miss none. A technique only counts when you use it in competition. All those banana flicks you drill in practice mean nothing if you never dare to use them in a match. That's training disconnected from play, wasted effort. Be bold. Use it. That's what makes a technique real, not just something you hide away. The more you use it under pressure, the more it becomes second nature. In a match, your mind wavers because the incoming ball is different every time. You have to read each situation and choose the right way to change direction. That's the real skill. Training is just one fixed pattern. Watch this ball, it goes long out of bounds. Why? Because the contact point was too low, the racket face too open, and he tried to lift a ball that was already rising. Instead, close the racket slightly, contact at the top of the bounce, and drive forward, not upward. That's the difference between a controlled change of line and an unforced error. That's exactly how those errors happen. The ball goes out because you didn't adjust your racket angle. Know when to change lines and trust your technique.